My fiancée put our wedding on hold for someone new. I cashed out our joint savings, canceled everything, and disappeared. Now she's begging for a second chance. I, 29M, was supposed to be married by now. Emily, 28F, and I had been together for almost 4 years. She was the kind of woman people described as the whole package. Gorgeous, smart, charming. I still remember the first time I introduced her to my family. My mom kept squeezing my arm like, "Good job, kid." We clicked fast. Moved in together after a year. Got engaged 2 years later. The wedding was going to be this fall. A vineyard ceremony, fairy lights everywhere, the kind of wedding that was supposed to start a forever. We had joint savings for the wedding. I worked 2 jobs for a while to build it up. Every time I transferred money into it, she would kiss me and say, "This is our dream, babe." I believed her. God help me, I really believed her. The first warning signs were stupid little things, the kind you ignore when you're wearing rose-colored glasses. She started getting obsessed with her phone, always flipping it upside down when she set it down, smiling at texts she wouldn't explain. Her girl nights became more frequent. Makeup got heavier, dresses shorter. When I said anything about it, not controlling, just asking, she laughed it off, said I was insecure and paranoid, because I'd never dated a woman as beautiful as her before. I told myself I was overreacting. That wedding stress does weird things to people. The real gut punch came 2 months before the big day. One night she came home late, hair tousled like she'd run through a storm, reeking of some expensive cologne that sure as hell wasn't mine. She stumbled into bed, muttering half-lies about grabbing drinks with the girls. I wanted to believe her. I really did. The next morning, while she was in the shower, her phone lit up on the nightstand. A message popped up from a guy named Brandon. It said, "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. Don't make me wait too long for round 2 winking face." I swear I felt my heart physically drop into my stomach. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't confront her right then. I just sat there, paralyzed, staring at the wall, feeling like an idiot in my own goddamn bed. I needed proof. Needed to be 100% sure before I blew up my own life. So I waited. I played dumb. But the distance between us grew like a canyon. She stopped caring. She canceled our venue walkthroughs, said she was too tired for cake tastings, started skipping meetings with the planner. I made excuses for her to friends and family like a goddamn fool. Then 1 week later she dropped the bombshell. We were having dinner, or trying to, since she was picking at her plate like a bored teenager, when she said, "I think we should postpone the wedding." I stared at her, fork frozen halfway to my mouth. "Postpone," I repeated like an idiot. She nodded, smirking, actually smirking, like she was doing me a favor. "I just feel unsure. I think I need to explore some things before we take this big step." "Explore what?" I asked, voice shaking. She shrugged. "There's someone else I met. I need to see where it goes." Like we were talking about what to order off a goddamn menu. I couldn't even speak. My throat closed up. All I could do was nod dumbly and stumble out of the restaurant while she sat there sipping her wine like it was a casual Tuesday night. Later that night, she texted me. Not even a call, saying it was nothing serious yet, and she needed space to figure herself out. Space. After 4 years. After everything. I spent that night on the floor of our living room, staring at the ceiling fan spin in slow, mocking circles, feeling like the stupidest man alive. And that was just the beginning. I didn't sleep at all that night. My brain just kept replaying everything, all the late nights, the sudden friends I never met, the excuses that didn't make sense. It all lined up too perfectly now. The next morning, I woke up, if you can call it that, with this sick feeling in my gut. I knew I couldn't just sit around like some clueless chump while she was out exploring her options. I needed the full truth, even if it tore me apart. I still had access to our joint cloud storage, mostly where we kept wedding stuff, and she'd recently set it to auto-upload her photos. Dumb luck, or maybe God finally throwing me a bone, but when I checked, there they were. Pictures. Not selfies. Not group shots. Pictures of her and Brandon. Her sitting in his lap at some rooftop bar. His hand on her thigh at what looked like a hotel lounge. One of her asleep on his bare chest. She must have taken it herself because it was that angle, you know, the one. There were even screenshots of flirty texts. Things like, "I can't wait to see you in that dress," and even more, "Out of it. You're way too sexy to be tied down yet," winking face. I felt like I was going to puke right there at my kitchen table. This wasn't some harmless, getting to know you situation like she tried to paint it. This was full-on, sneaking around, middle finger to our entire life betrayal. I didn't even know who I was looking at in those pictures. She looked different, more alive, like she wasn't pretending. I decided I wasn't going to sit around and wait for her to explore shit. I waited for her to come home that evening. She breezed through the door around 8:30 p.m., humming some song like she didn't have a goddamn care in the world. "Hey," she chirped, kicking off her heels. I stood there, holding my phone. Silent. When she finally looked up and saw my face, she froze. "We need to talk," I said. My voice didn't even sound like mine. She sat down slowly, crossing her legs, the same legs I'd seen tangled around another man the night before in photos. "Look, I know this is hard," she started, putting on that fake soft voice she used when she wanted something. "But you have to understand, it's not about you. I realized I have feelings I need to explore before I make a lifetime commitment." I cut her off. "I saw the pictures, Emily." Her face drained of color in an instant. For a split second, she tried to keep it cool, blinking, gathering her thoughts like she was going to spin some story. But she wasn't ready for me to already know everything. "You went through my private stuff?" she snapped, like that was the real crime here. I laughed. Actually laughed, this dry, bitter sound that didn't even sound human. "I'm not the one who cheated," I said. "Don't you dare act like the victim." Then came the excuses. "It's not what it looks like. It just kind of happened. We were drunk. It's only physical, it doesn't mean anything." She tried everything. When she saw none of it was working, she switched tactics. Started blaming me. "If you hadn't been so focused on work all the time, if you made me feel wanted, if you didn't stress me out about wedding details, maybe I wouldn't have been so tempted." I just stared at her. In that moment, she became a stranger to me. All the love I had felt, the memories, the trust, the future plans, they shriveled up and died right there in my chest. "You made your choice," I said finally, standing up. Her face twisted in panic. "Wait, what are you saying?" "I'm saying you're free to explore all you want. Just not as my fiancée." She followed me around the house, begging, crying, but still somehow blaming me in the same breath. It was pathetic. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I just need time to figure things out. We can work through this." "No," I said, grabbing my keys. "I'm done." And I walked out. I didn't even know where I was going. I just drove aimlessly for hours, the weight of everything pressing down on me like a goddamn elephant sitting on my chest. I pulled over at some deserted overlook outside of town, turned off the engine, and just sat there in the dark. I cried for the first time in years. Not just because I lost her, but because I realized I'd lost myself along the way too. The next morning, I woke up in my car with the worst headache of my life, stiff and cold, parked behind some gas station outside town. It was pathetic. I was pathetic. That's when the anger kicked in. She cheated on me, lied to my face for months, made me feel crazy for questioning her, and now she was crying that she needed time to figure things out. You know what was even worse? I checked my phone and saw she had already texted me 8 times that morning, saying things like, "I think we rushed into getting engaged. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. I still love you, but I need freedom too." Freedom. She wanted freedom while still keeping me leashed, just in case her shiny new boy toy didn't work out. Nah, not happening. That's when I made up my mind. I wasn't just going to walk away quietly. I was going to erase myself from her life so completely that she'd wonder if I ever even existed. First, the money. We had a joint savings account for the wedding, about $18,000 in it. I was the primary on the account. I checked the terms twice just to make sure. Technically, I could pull every dime out without needing her signature. So that's exactly what I did. I transferred every last cent into my personal account. Left exactly $0 in the wedding fund. Not a penny more, not a penny less. Second, the wedding plans. I went scorched earth. Called the venue, canceled. Lost a $2,000 deposit? Worth it. Caterer? Canceled. Photographer? Canceled. DJ? Canceled. Every email, every contract shredded. Every vendor I spoke to offered me condolences, thinking maybe there had been a death in the family. Yeah, my relationship died. Guess that counts. Third, my life. I packed 2 duffel bags with my essentials, grabbed my documents, my laptop, and my dog. Thank God I had him, only reason I didn't completely lose it. I called up an old college buddy who lived 3 states away, explained I was going through some shit and asked if I could crash for a while. Without even hesitating, he said yes. I turned off location services on everything. Deleted Emily from every social media account. Blocked her number. Blocked her email. I didn't leave a note. I didn't say goodbye. I just disappeared. 1 second I was her fiancé, the next I was a ghost. I left our apartment keys on the kitchen counter with a sticky note that just said, "You wanted freedom. Here it is." And then I drove. 4 hours. For miles. Out of that town, out of that life, until the past felt like a bad dream in my rearview mirror. Somewhere around 3 a.m., crossing a state line under a sky full of stars, I actually smiled for the first time in weeks. I was free too. It didn't even take 24 hours for the first signs of panic to hit. When I stopped for gas halfway to my buddy's place, I checked the burner phone I bought before leaving. Yes, I was thinking that far ahead. No way I was letting her trace my regular number. Even though I had her blocked everywhere, some desperate messages still found their way through. Mutual friends, unknown numbers, emails titled, "Please just talk to me." Apparently, Emily had come home to an empty apartment and a drained wedding account and realized for the first time that she wasn't the one in control anymore. She lost her goddamn mind. First, it was the sweet phase. "Please, babe, I made a mistake. One mistake. You can't throw away 4 years of love over this. Please come home. We can fix this. You're my soulmate. I'm sorry. Brandon means nothing." It was a phase. A stupid phase. She sent a goddamn slideshow of old photos of us together. Like some cheesy movie montage was gonna make me forget the sight of her with another man. I didn't respond. So she moved into the guilt phase. "I'm homeless now. You ruined my life. How could you be so cruel to someone who loved you?" I didn't even sleep with him, not really. We just fooled around. That's not the same thing. Oh, so only partial cheating, got it. Thanks for clearing that up, Emily. She even sent a picture of her crying on the floor of our empty apartment. Looking miserable. I'm 90% sure she staged it. She was wearing makeup. Who cries in full-winged eyeliner? I still didn't respond. Next came the anger. "You're an immature piece of shit. No real man would abandon his fiancée like this. I hope you die alone. Good luck finding someone who'll love you half as much as I did, asshole." And my personal favorite. "Brandon says you're a coward and I'm better off without you. LMAO. The same Brandon she swore meant nothing? Yeah. Sounds real convincing. I could see her unraveling in real time. It was like every stage of grief, but happening in fast forward. A mutual friend, bless his messy little heart, told me later that she had a full-on meltdown when she realized I wasn't coming back. She tried showing up at my old work, calling my parents, DMing random friends and asking if they knew where I was, posting sad, cryptic messages on Instagram like, "Some mistakes cost you everything, broken heart." Yeah, no shit, Emily. What she didn't realize was that I had already lined up a new apartment near my buddy's place, started a new job in his city, and was piecing my life back together without her dragging me down like an anchor tied to my ankles. The wedding that was supposed to happen that fall? She had to cancel all the RSVPs herself. Everyone, family, friends, even coworkers, found out she was the reason. I didn't even have to say a word. The truth oozed out around her like a stain she couldn't scrub off. She started getting iced out by people she thought would always be on her side. She texted me once, through a friend's phone this time, begging me to please just meet once, so she could explain everything. I never answered. She called my mom crying. My mom, who had already known something was up, told her, "You made your choices, Emily. Now you live with them." Absolute queen behavior. And when Emily realized there was no more pity to squeeze out of anyone, she finally gave up. I heard from a mutual once that she moved in with Brandon a few months later. They lasted about 6 months. Apparently, he cheated on her with a bartender he met at some dive bar. Poetic justice. You ever feel like your life is a house and someone just torched it to the ground while you were still inside? That's exactly what it felt like after everything with Emily. Even though I left, even though I chose to cash out and disappear, it didn't make the pain any less brutal. Because when you love someone, truly, like plan your whole damn life around them kind of love, it doesn't just switch off because they hurt you. It festers. It eats you from the inside out. The first few weeks in my new city, I barely left the apartment. I slept on a mattress on the floor, surrounded by half-unpacked boxes. I had a job, sure, but I was just existing. Waking up, working, eating whatever sad takeout I could force down, sleeping, rinse, repeat. I'd stare at my phone sometimes and wonder if maybe I was the crazy one. Like maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe I should have fought for her harder. Maybe it really was my fault for not being enough for her. It's insane how your brain can turn on you like that when you're vulnerable. The nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, thinking about how close I came to marrying her. Imagining the kids we talked about. The house. The Sunday mornings drinking coffee on the porch. All of it gone. Like it never even existed. Sometimes I hated her. Other times I missed her so bad it physically hurt. I kept asking myself the same questions over and over. How could she fake it so well? How could she say she loved me and be planning an escape at the same time? Was any of it real? I know people like to say time heals, but honestly, time just teaches you how to carry the weight better. The real turning point happened one rainy Sunday about 3 months after I left. I was sitting in this shitty diner at 7 a.m., hadn't slept, just nursing a cold cup of coffee and staring out the window. And I saw this older guy, maybe late 60s, sitting by himself at the counter. Eating pancakes, reading a book, looking content. Not lonely. Not miserable. Just peaceful. And something in me just clicked. I wanted that. Not the loneliness. The peace. I wanted to be the kind of person who could sit with myself and not feel like something was missing. So that's what I started working toward. Little by little, I clawed my way back. I joined a gym. I started hiking again. I forced myself to go to open mic nights even though I didn't know a soul. I picked up photography, something I'd always loved but had shelved during the Emily years because it wasn't practical. I built a new version of myself, brick by brick, scar by scar. The worst part? There's no big dramatic healing moment. No magic day when you wake up and all the pain is gone. It's slow. It's realizing you went a whole afternoon without thinking about them. It's laughing at a joke and not feeling guilty for being happy. It's looking in the mirror one morning and thinking, hey, you're still here. You're still standing. It's survival. And after everything she took from me, my trust, my faith, my future, survival felt like the sweetest revenge I could possibly get.